Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Red Dead Redemption 2 video, I'm going to be telling you guys how to catch legendary fish the easiest way possible, and even ways that the game doesn't tell you, some tips and tricks that they don't show you that make a world of difference. And once I got the hang of it, I started to catch legendary fish on my first try. So there are a couple prerequisites to start this. Number one, you need to be in Chapter 3. At the very end of Chapter 2, you get a fishing rod, and from there you can obviously hunt legendary fish. And then you actually need to speak to a gentleman named Jeremy Gill, who is located on the shore of the Flatiron Lake. He is a stranger that you talk to, and basically he is a famous fisherman that catches lots of big fish, and he wants you to go hunt legendary fish for him. He will actually give you a challenge and a map that shows you roughly where all of the legendary fish are. And it's pretty easy to find out in what spots they are, because obviously they're going to be in bodies of water. So that right there is step one. Be in Chapter 3 and talk to this guy named Jeremy Gill. Step number 2 is going to acquire the right tools in order to hunt legendary fish. So the first is obviously a fishing rod. The second is going to be one of 3 items. It's going to be special lure based off of where the fish is located, in a river, a lake, or a swamp. Now, this is something I don't want you guys to get confused with, because there's the $20 options, which you need, and then there's the non-$20 options, which you do not need. And there's also bait options as well that you can buy too. Bait and lures are not used at the same time. I was really confused by this for the longest time. I would use the special lure, but then I would put bait on, and I was wondering why I was getting these tiny fish. You only use one or the other. Now from there, it's all about finding the legendary fish location, and the game will actually tell you when you are in legendary fish territory. And from there, it's pretty easy. So now let's talk about the basics of fishing. So in order to get this thing started, you're going to hold down left trigger, then right trigger, and you're going to cast your line into the water. Now, a tip that I like to do, I like to cast my line intentionally further than where the fish are. By the way, if you're confused on where the fish are, just look for the bubbles. That's where they are in the water. Now, what I like to do is slowly reel in the lure. I don't like to mess with R2, moving it back and forth. I feel like that scares the fish away. And you can see, because I am hunting in the swamp, which is actually right next to the place where I bought the bait and tackle, I'm using the special swamp lure. You want to use the lure that is specific to the legendary fish in the region you're hunting in. Remember, lake, river, swamp. It needs to be one of those 3. Now, once you've hooked the fish, there's basically 2 things you want to do. You want to reel it in and control it. So let's talk about controlling the fish. So this is when the fish is going to try and pull away from you, and this is when your controller is going to vibrate. In order to do this, there's 2 things you want to do. Number 1, you want to move the left thumbstick in the opposite direction of the fish. Remember, the fish is trying to pull away, so you want to move the left thumbstick in the opposite direction. And this next one is important. This is something the game does not tell you. You also want to click in on the right thumbstick. Doing this will prevent the fish from spooling out any more line, which means your line will have a less chance of snapping. The game doesn't tell you about that. So pull in the opposite direction and click in on the right stick when the fish is pulling. When the fish is not pulling, when it's tired out, you want to spin the right analog stick in the direction it tells you, and you also want to pull down on the left stick. Now, doing this at the same time is a little awkward. In fact, I even had to position my hand where my sort of right palm was turning the right stick, and I was pulling down on the left stick. And you'll actually see Arthur do it. When you pull down, he sort of flicks the rod up in the air a little bit higher. This gives you a huge advantage. In fact, in the strategy guide, they describe this as an advanced reeling technique. So you want to tilt the left stick down to pull your rod up and then quickly reel in. And then after a second or two, you want to do this again, pulling up and reeling in, and repeating this as often as you can until the fish resumes struggling and a new cycle begins. And you'll notice that this repeated upward movement gives you a significant edge and will enable you to get better of even the most robust legendary fishes. So basically, it's just when the fish tires out, you pull in. When it's pulling away, you pull in the opposite direction, left or right. And once you get the hang of that, it is super easy to catch legendary fish. So the one I'm hunting here is actually in the swamp, and there was like never a risk of me breaking my line or anything like that. It was super simple once I got the hang of it. The game is just really confusing in terms of giving you a proper tutorial, because the one fishing mission you go on is hunting like baby fish. They don't prepare you for the legendary stuff. So once you know the sort of tips and tricks that I've given you in this video, it is so easy to catch one of these big guys. So the fish that I was trying to catch today is the legendary gar, which is once again found in the Lagris swamp. And this, like I said, was pretty easy. Once I got the hang of it, this was like my first try. And this thing, as you guys can see here, is absolutely massive. 41 pounds, 8 ounces, legendary long nose gar. And I'm definitely going to be keeping this one because there is a legendary fish challenge, as you guys can see there. And our next objective, if you guys are hunting legendary fish, is to take this to the post office. That's right, we are literally going to be mailing a fish today, believe it or not. And you can see once I've mailed the fish, I was 1 of 13, and I was actually going to get a reward for returning the fish to Jeremy. Now, you get rewards after 1 fish, 10 fish, and then finally 13. 1 fish is a lake lure, 10 fish is $45, and a succulent fish meat. And then after you do all 13, you complete the challenge, you get a special spinner, which is great for hunting further legendary fish. So anyways, that right there is how you can easily hunt legendary fish in Red Dead Redemption 2, and also probably a great way in how you'll be able to hunt fish in Red Dead Online when it eventually comes out. So I know that if you follow these tips and tricks, you'll be catching these fish in no time. And a lot of the things I mentioned in this video, the game is not going to tell you. So this is something I would definitely use on your next fishing trip. But anyways, that's all the information that I've got for you guys in this video today. Hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to leave a like rating on this video. That'd be awesome. And also subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new, or you like daily Red Dead Redemption 2 videos like this. With all the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.